Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Weiss. You are on the Ask Jason Weiss show. Before we get started, I need to put my disclaimer out there, put on my lawyer hat, that no matter what I say or do today, nothing discussed today is legal advice. Should you need legal advice, financial advice, or any type of advice, please consult with a professional. There is no attorney-client privilege created by you watching this, by you participating, or anything. And this is just, purely for entertainment purposes and just general purposes. Today, I do this maybe twice a year, 3 times a year. I intentionally don't have a guest so that I can go off of some of the questions and comments that I've gotten over the course of from the last time I did it. So today, I have a whole bunch of questions from colleagues, peers, and listeners, and I'm going to try to just go ahead and address them all. The one thing I do want to keep everybody mindful of is the fact that I am an attorney who's licensed to practice in Florida for both state and federal, and a couple of other federal jurisdictions, actually like 10 others. So anything that I talk about is going to specifically be covered by Florida law and not so much other states. And the perfect example is here in the state of Florida, when somebody wants to own a company by themselves, I constantly tell them that if you're going to own it by yourself and you're going to be the sole owner, that you should do it as an Inc., a corporation, as opposed to a state like Las Vegas, Nevada, where I found out that a single member LLC in Nevada gets just as much, if not more, protection than a single member Inc. Florida, it's different. So for Florida, I always tell anybody that's going to go ahead and own something by themselves to do it as an Inc. But in other states like Nevada, go ahead and set up an LLC. So with that being said, one of the things I'm going to talk about today is a word that's being thrown around a lot in the press and everywhere else: extortion. Okay. What is extortion? Well, most people think extortion is just plain simple as, if you don't do this, then I'm going to do that. Okay. That's not extortion, at least in the state of Florida. Okay. Where extortion comes into play as follows. Mary owes Steve money. Mary says to Steve, if you don't pay me, I'm going to sue you. 100% allowed. No problem. Mary says to Steve, if you don't pay me, I am going to file a lawsuit. I'm going to do all that. Fine. Mary can say to Steve, you did not pay me, and I am going to the police, and I am filing a police report. Okay. That's where you get a little bit sketchy and a little bit, it could be, hey, I'm on my way to the police report right now. I'm filing a police report, right? You're allowed to do that. You could say, I'm going to report you. I'm going to, fine, all allowed. What you cannot do is say, hey, you owe me money, and if you don't pay me this money, I'm going to the police. Okay. That is extortion. Hey, if you don't pay me this money, I'm going to report you to the Florida bar. Hey, if you don't pay me my money, I'm going to report you to the FCC for calling my cell phone when you shouldn't. That is all extortion. So how do you avoid that? Well, you put your money where your mouth is. If you do not pay me, then I am going to sue you. Allowed, right? Don't threaten to call the police. Go to the police. Hey, my name is Mary. Steve owes me $10,000. Steve hasn't paid me. He stole it from me. He fraudulently took it. He came up with a scheme. He smuggled whatever it is. Just go ahead and do it. You're allowed, right? Go enforce your rights. File that police report. Get it on record. If you happen to get paid, and you then agree out of the kindness of your heart that you're going to drop the charges, you're not going to pursue it, that's up to you. But again, it can't be, hey, you didn't pay me, I'm going to the police unless you pay me now. No, extortion. You cannot exchange the payment of something for the refraining of going ahead and taking proper action. So that's something that you can't do. So my suggestion would be take it all, go forward, file your civil suit, file your criminal action, and go for it. And again, civil suit, like we all know from OJ and the trial and everything, and may he rest in peace. We know that you can run parallel. You can have a civil case, you can have a criminal case, and one thing has nothing to do with the other. So that is one of the things that I'm talking about with extortion, right? So people say it all the time. Oh, I'm being extorted. Well, how are you being extorted? Well, they said if I don't pay, they're going to sue me. It's not extortion. Now, if they say, if you don't pay me, I'm going to the police, okay, that's where you get into that. So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I've been getting a lot of questions about. A second thing is that there is something with corporations and with other things, and it is called the beneficial owners and individual reporting. And this is something that's brand new. And any business owner, potential, past, future, or current, needs to pay attention here. Okay. It is called BOI, beneficial owner information. And this is regulated by FinCEN, FINCEN, which is the United States Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Mouthful, I know. So what does all of this mean? Well, here in the state of Florida, you can go on and you could create a corporation, an LLC, or anything you want very easily. You go on a website, you put in the information, you do everything, and you get going. Now, there is something like the U.S. Department of Treasury now wants to know all the beneficial owners. So if you're starting a new company, you go ahead, you go register your company, you put your information on, and for anything that's formed between January 1st, 2024 and January or December 31st, 2024, you have 90 days to go ahead and file this report. And you have to go on the US government website and you need to do all this. And they ask you such information as your full legal name, your date of birth, your residential address, and they need a copy of your passport and your passport or US driver's license. And a failure to report and do this can have a hefty civil fine of $500 a day and criminal penalties of up to, I think, 2 years and a fine of $10,000. And any senior officer or member or anything like that, they can get in trouble for it as well. So you need to be very careful. Now, there was a case that came out recently where it had to do with the reporting, and it had to do with a certain group taking an appeal, having to do with, well, do we need to report or do we need to do anything? And a lot of people are very confused as to what do you still need to do. And one of the things that it did is it just really talks about the ways around needing to file, but it's basically just for a very, very specific group, and that specific group is the plaintiffs that challenge the constitutionality of the beneficial owners, and also the members of a certain group. And there was something that had to do with, on March 1st, a federal court ruled that the Corporate Transparency Act, the CTA, which is what this all is unconstitutional because it's not a proper exercise of Congress's power. The court decided on the matter of law on National Small Business Association's motion for summary judgment. And what they found is that if you are were a plaintiff in that case, or if you are a member of the National Small Business Association, you don't have to file the beneficial owner information. But it was just that very limited group. So a lot of people were contacting me saying, well, I'm not part of that group, but I see this case. What do I do? Well, my suggestion was, for the amount of time that it takes to file it and the requirements that are there, to file it. And it's something that we're doing for our clients now. We're filing it for them. It's costing them hundreds, not thousands of dollars to get it done. And we're doing it for our clients. And if our clients decide that they don't want to do it, it's up to them. But what it is just a plain and simple filing. Now, I only talked about what happens if you set up a corporation in 2024. What about if you set it up in 2023 or 2022 or 1999? You still have to report. The only difference is that you have the entire year of 2024 to do it. So I have clients that are saying to me, yeah, you know what? Do it this summer, or do it in August, or do it in September, or I want to see what the law. No problem. But if you set something up now, you have 90 days to get it done. And my suggestion is that you just go ahead and do it. And again, I have not examined the entire ruling on the case that was filed and that the summary judgment was entered on behalf of National Small Business Association. But you want to be prudent, you want to be smart, you want to get ahead of the curve. My suggestion would be either do it yourself or hire an attorney to do it for you. It should not cost you an arm and a leg. It should cost you a couple $100 to get it done, and just go ahead and do it. For any corporation that goes ahead and gets started in 2025, my understanding is that the rules as of now say that you need to go ahead and have the beneficial owner information done within 30 days of filing. Entities formed after January 1st, 2025 will have 30 days from such formation to submit the report. And also you will have 30 days if you have any changes to also make the change. So again, I understand the intention. I understand why it's being done. And my suggestion is to talk to an attorney, go ahead and get the information that you need, get your file up and done, and then you don't have to worry about it. And if you don't have to report because they say later on the rules have changed or the law doesn't apply, so be it. But it's better to be safe than sorry. Again, not legal advice, not telling you what to do. All I want you to do is be aware of the beneficial ownership information that FinCEN is requiring corporations, legal entities, companies, businesses, LLCs to do. Consult an attorney. There are some great ones out there that know about this stuff, and go there. And again, each state could be different, but this is federal. So that's what I want to talk to you about. Okay. Next question I have is AI. What is AI? I hear it all over the internet. And what does it mean for my job as a lawyer? Okay. Our AI is artificial intelligence. AI is incredible these days. And I look at AI as a tool. Okay. Do I think AI is going to replace all of us? No. I mean, I have flashbacks of Terminator 2 when it comes to that. You know, the robots taking over and all of this, and the movie Passengers, where the computer takes over, and even in WALL-E, where the computer takes over the ship. I don't think it's going to get to that. Where I think AI is going to be is I think it's going to be like a tool in Batman's utility belt, right? You still need Batman or Batgirl or Supergirl or Wonder Woman, right? You still need that person to use that tool. And AI is a tool. It will help you get done faster. It'll help you get done more reasonable. It'll help you think about other opportunities. It might free you up so that you can pursue something that you want to pursue. But I really, and this is just my thought, don't see AI replacing attorneys, doctors, anybody, right? Even some of these grocery stores, and I'm reading it all the time, they had the self-checkout. Well, they're not doing that anymore. Too many people were stealing, and too many things were being damaged, and things were being left, and things are disappearing. They're cutting it down. And they decided that they're going to have, instead of one person monitoring the 8 registers, they now have 4 people monitoring. And that cuts down on the amount of time and effort and money and all of that. So again, I think AI is just a tool that we are all going to get to use to help us enhance what we're offering, to help it better, to make it easier, to make it faster, to make it quicker, more in detail, to give other opportunities. And heck, I had Gabe Keating on last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about AI. I think it's a phenomenal tool, and I'm trying to learn about it so that I can use it to assist my clients, but not to replace me, and not to get in there, and not to be instead, but to be a tool and a resource. And that's what I think AI is all about. Okay, the next question I had talked about images and use. So the question was, if I can find an image on the internet and it is out there for copy and pasting, can I use it? Okay. The answer is no. Okay. Somebody owns that image. Somebody produced it. Somebody has rights to it. And just because you can find it on the internet 1,000 different times doesn't make it okay for you to use. Okay. Most companies, they charge, a license fee, $150, $200. Pay the license fee if you really want to use that image. Because if you don't pay the $200, you're going to get one of these lovely demand letters that say, hey, I am the owner of that, or hey, I am the attorney that represents the owner of that. You're using it. And the mere taking it off of your website, your advertising, your t-shirt, whatever it is, that's not going to solve the problem. We've been damaged. We normally charge $150 for use of the image for a year. You've used it for 2 years. You owe us $300. And here's the kicker, plus attorney's fees and costs. And our client has spent $2,500 on our attorney's fees and costs. So now all of a sudden, for an image that you could have paid $150 for, you're getting a demand letter for $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. So do it the right way. Think about it this way. You come up with an image, you come up with a logo, you come up with an idea, and somebody uses it, doesn't give you credit, doesn't pay you for it, doesn't do anything. How does that make you feel? I'll pause for a second. Pisses you off. So what are you going to do? You're going to try to protect your rights. You're going to try to protect your hard work. You're going to try. So that's all these people are doing. Now, yes, there are things out there. They're called copyright trolls, where they're intentionally looking and they want you to use it because they want you to get money, and they want to hurt, and they want to fine. Okay, I get it, right? Same thing with lawyers. They call us ambulance chasers sometimes. Why? Because we look for the accident. Show up at the accident, hand them your card. Hey, you were in an accident, call me. Right? Same thing. You could say that about anything in life. But at the end of the day, if it's someone's image and you have it, don't use it. Get their permission. Pay them the royalty fee. Spend the $150. Do it the right way. Because if you don't do it the right way at first, you're going to wind up having to do it the right way later on, and it's going to cost you a heck of a lot more money. And the guy that I worked for, who I speak very highly of, and to this day, I'm so grateful he took me under his wing, Alan Fertel, who's an attorney down here in Miami. He would always say, he's like the Fram oil filter, pay now or pay later. So you might as well just do it right the first time, get it out of the way, get it done, sleep at night, and go ahead, spend the $150, buy the image, have somebody create the artwork for you, whatever it is, just do it the right way. And that's one of the things that I talk about all the time. Do it the right way. What's right for you May not be right for me. It may not be right for the gentleman or the lady sitting next to you. But at the end of the day, you're never wrong for doing the right thing. And I'm going to give Mark Twain credit for that, since it is his thing. You're never wrong for doing the right thing. And that's something that you need to figure out. What is the right thing, right? Is the right thing for you working 20 hours a day and seeing your family for 4 hours? Is the right thing for you putting your feet up on the desk and not working today? Is the right thing for... I don't have the answer, right? What's right for you? What's your set of circumstances? And that's a great segue into something that I talk about in my book. Yes, as first-time listeners will hear, I do have a book. It's called Shit They Never Taught You in Law School, The Survival Guide to Navigating the Law. And one of the things that I talk about in the book is booking time for you. And the reason I'm talking about booking time for you today is because that's huge for me. I was just on with my coach. Her name is Judy. And she told me, you need to book time for you, Jason. You need to figure it out for you. And that's chapter 15 of my book, page 93, for those of you that are reading along at home. You need to book time for you. As attorneys, one of the skills I think we need to develop and strengthen and have as a superpower is organization. People talk about blocking time or following an agenda. If you're not good at things like that, then you can use an alarm on your phone or have someone help you with it. Reminders, Post-its, the annoying alarm on your phone, they all work. There's no right answer, but I have provided some various suggestions and invite you to find what works for you. And I talk about how I plan out my week every Sunday. I do it with my family. I do it with my kids, my wife, Vader, of course, who's sleeping right here next to me. And then I figure out what to do with my open time. Well, one of the things that I figured out that seems to work for me of late is to book that time for me, just like I would for any other client. What do I mean by that? Well, today, for example, right? I had a phone call at 10:30. I had a phone call at 11. I'm on the radio show now at noon. I have a call booked at 1, 1:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock. So from 3 o'clock until my last call at 4:45, I have an open time period. Well, in that time period, I can put whatever it is I need to do, right? Call my mom to say hello. Go take Madison to dance. Check out Logan at practice there. Do something for me, like write another chapter in volume 2 of, Shit They Never Taught You in Law School, called More Shit They Never Taught You in Law School. Reach out to a friend, work on a pleading, draft a motion. Again, book time for me. Treat it like you would any other client. Treat yourself with the same respect and the same importance that you would a client. And I feel like I'm talking to myself, even though I am, because I can see myself here. That's something that's important. And that's something that's constantly lost on myself. And I need to constantly remind myself. I mean, look, I got a to-do list, right? There's my to-do list. On there, there are times blocked for me, literally, to go ahead on Saturday morning and have breakfast with Tova, because that's something I want to do. We're dropping Madison off at something at school. We're going to go have breakfast. And then we're going to go to Costco or Walmart. And then we're going to pick her up. But I block the time for me. So one of the things you need to make sure you do, Jason and all listeners, is book time for you, because that's very important. One of the other things that I talk about in my book, and it kind of goes ahead and talks on the same note, is that you can't be afraid to say no, or it's okay to say, I don't know. Either one, and both is fine. Hey, Jason, can you look at this for me? Sure, no problem. Can you look it for me now? Well, no, it's 12:24. I'm in the middle of my radio show. Sorry, I can't. And I'm not saying it's not okay to say, look, my show is over at 1 o'clock, and I'm booked until, like I just told everybody, 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I can call you at 4. That's okay. What you're doing is you're taking your power back. You're saying, hey, I can't be available when you quote unquote need or want, but I am showing you how important you are because I do have this time for you. And that's a very important thing. Um, we all want to be wanted, right? It sounds great when you're picked first for the dodgeball game, or you get first place for a competition, or you win a pleading or a motion, right? We all want to feel wanted. We all want to feel needed. We all want to win. But at the same time, think about you for a minute, right? What are you sacrificing by putting yourself second, third, or fourth over that client? And that's something that I deal with every day. Where do I find my passion, right? I want to write another book. I'm 12,000 words into it. That's great. Hopefully, within a month, I'll be 20,000 words into it, 30,000 words into it. But chances are I'm only going to be 12,000 because I didn't set that priority. So I'm working on booking time for me, being able to say no, or being able to say right now, and taking the power back and putting it on my time. And that's very important. You need to put things in your perspective, in your time period, and make sure that it does work for you. Now, I'm not saying if a federal judge or a state judge or a magistrate says you must be here at this day and this time that you could say no. I get it, and I don't disagree, and I would not recommend saying no. I would recommend saying yes, Your Honor, no problem. But at the same time, you can pick your battles, pick what works for you, and do it when it works for you. Another thing is, let's see. I apologize. I'm looking through here. How do you manage life and practice? Oh boy. That all touches exactly what I've just been talking about, right? Life and practice. Well, the law is the law, right? You practice it. You don't get to you practice, you navigate. There's a lot of times there's no right or wrong answer, and there's a lot of aspects to it. There's the business of law, right? That's the part I love. Working with clients, strategizing, coming up with deal points, memorandum, like all that stuff. I did all the research, and this is what I found, right? That's the business side of it. Implementing it is the practice side of it. Okay, I found two cases. Case A says this, case B says this. They're in direct opposition. What do I do? Well, I draft a great memo and I advocate my side. I go ahead and do what I have to do. I fight zealously. I'm an advocate for my clients. I do everything I can, right? That is the practice of law. So how do you balance the practice of law and life? I wish I had an answer. You do the best you can with what you got, right? You start by booking time for you. If it's important to you to get 10 hours of sleep, then get 10 hours of sleep. If it's important to you to get less sleep and go to the gym, well, wake up early, go to the gym, work out. Start your professional day at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. End it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The one thing I can say is try, and try again. And I don't use the word try. Experiment. Come up with different options. Figure out what works. I know that when I started writing my first book, I tried different times of the day to write. I woke up early. I sat. I wrote. I wrote for an hour. I wrote for half an hour. I wrote for 45 minutes, whatever it was for the day. And then I rolled into my work day. Well, I found myself wanting to go back and writing more and taking notes all day long. So I said, writing my book first thing in the morning doesn't work. Okay. So then I said, all right, my phone usually stops ringing nonstop around 6:15, 6:30. So I have dinner with the family, done by 7. I'm going to write from 7 to 8. 3 nights a week. And I tried that. And by 7 o'clock, my eyes were so tired because I worked all day long and I worked on things. I didn't want to do it anymore. The energy wasn't flowing. So I'm like, all right, let me try something else. I tried afternoon. I took an hour for lunch. I found myself at 11 o'clock wanting to go write. And then I found myself when I was done writing, not wanting to do legal work. Yeah, so that didn't work either. As many of you know who read my book or saw my book or have followed me for a little while, my father got sick while I was writing my book. And I was doing a lot of airplane and a lot of traveling and a lot of hospital rooms and waiting rooms and hotels. And guess what? That's where I found my time, on a plane, at an airport, at a hospital, because I was sitting there anyway, literally like this, like just waiting and seeing what was going on and waiting on doctors. So at least I tricked my brain into thinking I'm not wasting that time by doing something productive, writing a book. It was therapeutic. It was awesome. It was motivational for me. And I loved it so much that I'm writing a second one. Second one might not ever get published. I might just write it for me. I might only give it to friends and family. But again, it's therapeutic for me. Just like going out in my garden, right? I was out there earlier today. It's hot as heck here in South Florida. We haven't had rain in such a long time. All of my plants, they're starting to dry out. The dirt is, very, very dry. So I went out and I watered. Do I want to water every day in the middle of the day? No, but I needed it, right? I needed the mental break. And you need to gauge yourself. You need to book time for you, and you need to figure out what works for you. Because what works for you may not work for me. And what works for me may not work for you. So try it. Figure it out. Maybe don't just go ahead and completely shut a door and say, I'm moving on. Kind of like the whole story that Sean Connery's character tells in The Hunt for Red October, which is when, and I forgot who it was, but when they sailed and they landed, they burned the boats. So there was no turning back. I'm not saying do that, right? I'm not saying burn the boats. Maybe on some things, like giving up smoking cigarettes, right? Throw them all out and burn the boats, right? Stop smoking. But if you want to change your practice, you want to change your job, okay, do it slow. Figure out what it is, right? I might want to go ahead and get involved in a food truck. I might want to go ahead and start growing more herbs and spices and flowers and potatoes. And okay, but I can't do that today. I can't just throw my hands up in the air and say I'm done practicing law and I'm going to go do this. Can't be done. Not right now. In a year, 2 years, 5 years, who knows? Maybe my radio show will get picked up, syndicated all over. And the home of Going Bold Media or goingboldmedia.com will all be very excited and happy and all of that. You never know. So my suggestion is keep all your options open. Talk to everybody. Bounce your ideas off people. Now, don't bounce your ideas off people if you have an invention or have an idea or you're sharing business secrets without the use of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. What is an NDA? It's a non-disclosure agreement. It means that I'm going to tell you things that I wouldn't otherwise tell the world, but you kind of have to keep it secret. And when I say kind of have to, you have to. And there are different ways that different things and different NDAs cover in different states. Again, very state specific. An NDA, I'm going to tell you something. It's a secret. You can't tell them. And that's it. And as an attorney, I get asked to sign NDAs all the time, 2-3 times a week. And I always say to the people asking me to sign it, look, I'm governed by the Florida bar. If you tell me something is the capacity of an attorney, I can't share it. I can't tell your business secrets. I can't profit off of it. I can't do any of that. Well, would you mind signing my NDA? Sure. And I sign the NDA. I clean it up. I make it so it's language that's acceptable to me. And then a lot of times I'll get a legal client out of it. And then I'm their attorney anyway. So my suggestion again is this. Put feelers out there. People love to help. People love to see, including myself. You thinking about going to law school? Reach out to me. I'll tell you the good and the bad. You thinking about writing a book? I'll tell you about it. You want to read my book and you can't spend the $15? I'll send you a coupon so you can get it on Audible for free, or I'll mail it to you, or I'll get you a discount code. People love to help. And when we like to help and love to help, it's to help. It makes me feel good to help others. That's my satisfaction. That's the catch. That's what I get out of it, right? I don't need to go ahead and consult with you for half an hour and charge you $200. No, look, let me help you, because I look at it as this way. I'm forging and building relationships for the future. And that's one of the things that I'd recommend to everybody out there. Look ahead, get your goal in place, get your plan in place, figure out where your end goal is, and work backwards. I want to be a billionaire and drive a Ferrari. Great. How do you do that? I don't have the answer. I'm not a billionaire. I don't drive a Ferrari. I've driven them, but again, get your plan in place, follow your roadmap, stick to it. And if you're as lucky as me and have a supportive family and friends and people around me, it makes it that much easier. So with that said, I am going to be wishing everybody a happy and a healthy and everything great. I know we have some holidays coming up and we have some festive times coming up, and we got another week of Mercury retrograde. That's going to be coming to an end. So good luck to all of you. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to reach out to me at jason@askjasonweiss.com. You can find me at Ask Jason Weiss on Instagram. I'm Jason, S as in Sam or Stuart, actually, Weiss on LinkedIn. Find me. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to give guidance. I'd love to assist. And whatever I can do to help you, it's my pleasure. And if you want coffee, find me on LinkedIn. Drop me your mailing information, and I need to know whole bean or grind, and I'm back to roasting coffee. If you need a book, go to Amazon. Shit they never taught you in law school. Can't afford it, having trouble finding it, let me know. Drop me an email or a DM. I'll get you a copy. Thank you to the goingboldmedia.com. Thank you, Cece. Thank you, team. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful and happy one. Thank you for letting me do this. And I'll see you in 2 weeks with another incredible guest. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.